Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Unit 4.11, Practice B. Remember to show all your work. So, an object is thrown upward from a platform. The height in feet h of the object in t seconds after it is thrown is given by the quadratic equation y equals negative 16t squared plus 46t plus 6. So, just remember that our first number, we talked about that is gravity. Our second number, that 46t, that's our velocity. And then h is height. H equals the height, and t equals the time. Okay, sorry, that was a little sloppy, so I'm just going to rewrite that. H is height and t is time. So the first thing I want you to do is just kind of graph a sketch, whatever the scenario is. So we know that there is a platform going on here, and that the object is thrown and it's going up, and then what comes up must come down. Okay, so there we go. We have to identify the starting height of the object. So the starting height, well, I don't know what the starting height is, but I know what the starting time is. So the starting height, I don't know, but the time I do. Okay, I'm actually going to change where I put this. I'm going to put it right here. That h is, I don't know, but the t is 0. Okay, so I can take my original equation, plug in 0 for t to get our starting height. Now, I really hope you're not plugging this into your calculator, because 0 squared is 0 times negative 16, which is 0. 46 times 0 is 0. So my height is 6. So I'm going to say height equals 6 feet. Now, the other thing they want to know is, what is the velocity? Well, the velocity, all I do is steal that from the equation, and it's 46. So my velocity is 46 feet per second. Okay. Now, C. How long will it take for the object to reach its maximum height? And what is the maximum height? So that's two different things. We have to know what is the max, or how long will it take? That's talking about time. And then what is the maximum height? And that's where they're talking about the h. And I'm sorry, what is the h? And this is our vertex, okay? So to do the vertex, we take the opposite of b over 2 times a. So using that original equation, the negative 16t squared plus 46t plus 6, okay, I take the opposite of b, so negative 46, and I'm going to divide that by 2 times a, negative 16. Okay, so we get negative 46 on the top, we get negative 32 on the bottom. When we divide that out, we get 1.43, 4375 seconds, okay? So this is our seconds. Now, if it asks us to round it, we would say that that is 1.44. Okay, but it didn't say that. The next thing we want to know is, what is the height? Well, I know what the time is, so if I know what the time, all I have to do to find the height is plug it in. So I'm going to use my negative 16t squared plus 46 times t plus 6. And this is where you would plug in 1.4375. 1.4375. And I would recommend that you really just take it in your calculator and plug it all in. Okay, if you want to see me do it, you can watch. We've got negative 16 times 1.4375 squared plus 46 times 1.4375 plus 6. Okay, and then we get our the height. The maximum height, okay, our height, I'm going to write this in, like our height is 39.0625. If they asked to round it, we would say that that is 39.06 feet. Okay? Now, how long will it take for the object to hit the ground? Now, this time we're talking about height and time again. I don't know the time because they're saying how long, but they said the ground. I know the height of the ground, and the height of ground is 0. So I have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 46t plus 6. And then you can do quadratic formula, or you can factor. I'm a fan of factoring. Okay? The GCF, the only number that goes into 16, 46, and 6 is 2, and it's going to be a negative 2. So 0 equals negative 2, and then we have 8t squared minus 23t minus 3. So we just check. What numbers multiply to get to negative 24 and add to get to negative 23? So if you don't know it off the top of your head, you're thinking of, oh, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And the combination that's going to work is 1 and 24, except, good, the 24 is negative. Remember, it's got to work for both. Okay? So I split that middle term, the AT squared plus 1t minus 24t minus 3. We can zoom in here if you want to, so I can actually write a little bit nicer. Sorry. We take out the GCF of both. And the first one I can only take out a t. In the back, I can take out a negative 3, so I have t minus 3, and when I divide that out, we get 8t plus 1. Negative 24 divided by negative 3, once again, is positive t. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1, so they match. So we get 0 equals, I'm bringing down my negative 2. Did you forget about the negative 2? I hope not. 8t plus 1 and t minus 3. Now, I'm not done because we have an equal sign. I need to solve this. So I'm just going to come over here. 8t plus 1 equals 0. T minus 3 equals 0. AT equals negative 1, and t equals negative 1/8. Sorry I'm doing that quick, but we've been solving for a while, and we can't have negative time. But over here, we get a positive 3. So our final answer is that t equals 3 seconds. So in 3 seconds is when that ball would hit the ground. Okay? It's a lot of application, guys. We've done problems like this before. Now it's just applying it to what the question is asking us. All right. Number 2. Mr. Jones got really mad at his coworker because while he was giving a presentation, his coworker was texting on his cell phone. And it wasn't the first time this had happened. In a furious rage, Mr. Jones grabbed his coworker's phone and threw it out the window of the office. The height in feet h of the phone in t seconds after it is thrown is given by the equation h equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 128. So, sketch your graph. What's going on? Here's my window. Here's my angry guy. He's fuming. He's so mad. And he took this guy's phone and he just threw it out the window. And then it's going to go woo and hit the ground. Isn't my picture beautiful? Oh, thank you. That was so nice. So identify the starting height of the phone, also which was the height of the window, and the velocity at which it was thrown. So remember, I don't know the height, but I know the time. I'm sorry, I put a 0 for height. I don't know the height, but I do know the time because time is 0. So h equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 128. So we're going to plug in 0. And just like we said, all of those cancel. So we get h equals 128. So the height is 128 feet. So he's 128 feet off the ground when he's throwing that bad boy. I don't think it's going to last. I hope he has good insurance. So the velocity, remember we steal the velocity from the equation. So our velocity is 32 feet per second. Right, see? How long will it take for that phone to hit the ground? Well, once again, I do know the height now because my height is 0. And t, that's what we're trying to find. What is the time? So we said 0 equal to negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 128. So what's my GCF? What goes into all three of those? I always like to start with the lowest number. Okay, 16 goes into 128. What about 32? Sweet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 16, and since my first guy is negative, it's going to be a negative 16. So we have 0 equals negative 16, and then I'm left with t squared minus 2t, and then 128 divided by 16 was 8, so it's going to be a negative 8. Okay, so I'm looking for numbers that multiply to get to negative 8 and add to get to negative 2. So 1 and 8, 2 and 4, the only way to do that is, good, 2 and 4, and my 4 has to be negative. Okay, so I'm going to split that middle term. The negative 16 comes out. I still have the t squared plus 2t minus 4t minus 8. And all I'm going to do, just because we've kind of run out of room on the bottom over here, I'm going to factor it over here. So t squared plus 2t minus 4t minus 8. I'm going to draw the line down. Okay, I've got a t over here. I can take out a negative 4. So we get t plus 2 and negative 4. So negative 8 divided by negative 4. Yeah, positive 2. So as I bring it all together, we have negative 16, t plus 2, and t minus 4, which is what we got here. T plus 2, t minus 4. And then I set everything equal to 0. That has a variable. So t plus 2 equals 0. t minus 4 equals 0. Let's make that look like a 0. I subtracted and get negative 2. I added and get positive 4. We're talking about time. I can't have negative time, so my answer that from 128 feet from the velocity that Mr. Jones was throwing that phone, it would land in 4 seconds. Okay? All right, well, that's going to be it for the front side. Video number 2 will be all on the back side. This is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Unit 4.11, Practice B. Thanks for watching.